Good day, I greet you all. You're welcome to today's lecture on part 213, Organizational Conflicts and Management. I'm the course lecturer, Mr. AUTA ANOKUN. I want to welcome you to study session 8, which is on conflicts and group processes. The session has learning outcomes. It's expected that at the end of this session, you should be able to identify and discuss the group processes conflicts. Our introduction, the researchers have shown that there is an inherent conflict in the group life and development regardless of the size of the group. It can be explained with the help of two approaches. They are classical group development approach and the concomitant approach. It is always true that even the teeth and the mouth and the tongue that lives together always fights. This is because conflict is always inevitable, especially when we look at conflict from the context of group. Because a group comprises of different personality, different attitude, different behavior, different interests, different goal come together to achieve a common objective. In the course of such commonalities, there is every tendency for conflicts, for disagreements, for misunderstanding to arise. And that is why we are looking at the various conflicts management that happens in an organization. And so there are approaches to that, and we shall be looking at that as we progress. Now, we have what is called group process conflicts. Group process conflicts has so many issues to look at. The first thing is group development style. Based on this analysis, a developmental model of group combining those social and task dimensions was suggested. This widely known model includes 5 stages, which include forming, storming, performing, and adjourning. Now, what it simply means is that a group does not just come up in one day. It has so many processes to build up. The first stage is what? The formation stage. The formation stage is usually a stage where members of such group are drawn from various strata of life, from various disciplines, coming together to achieve a common goal. So at the formation stage, there are so many preliminaries, there's so many considerations that will actually take place. And that will also has to be done, because I don't know, the one you done, it will not begin to take us to, storming stage. A storming stage now has to do with a stage of actions, a stage of where members of that group will begin to think through, begin to discuss, begin to brainstorm, begin to bring up a lot of way forwards, strategies on how to actually carry out that group objective. Then the next issue is to perform. Performance stage is an implementation stage. This is where the group deploy both human and material resources to achieve the various group needs. And so what we are trying to say in that sense that for conflicts to be managed, or for conflicts to actually be addressed in a group setting, it does not just happen from one place. It must have the first form, the formation stage. Then how does the issue stunt? How did the group actually stunt at such issue? And how was it performed? Because these are some of the reasons if you want to address conflict in a group. You look at the starting and the structure, the framework design for the group, and how was it performed. Because if the group underperform against the initial expectation, you discover that sometimes it could be maybe some member begin to sabotage, or the entire group begin to go against the interest of the group. So it can cause conflict, Then the next one is adjourning. The truth remains that adjourning normally we all know when you begin to postpone issues, you begin to issue that's supposed to be addressed, it will be taken to another meeting point or another day. The truth remains that a group is actually a form of a social individuals who come with different anxieties and different needs and different desires. So when these things are not met as at the time when it's supposed to, it begin to cause problem. So these are one of the group process conflict. Then we always call concomitant style. It suggests that conflict is a concomitant, attendant process of collective life. This includes paradox of identity. There is a problem when you begin to see some group member begin to feel, I need to look for my brother, all this brotherhood, and from my village brother, or the same church, the same mosque, the same this. Problem of identity, it can cause conflict in a group. Then the issues of paradox of disclosure. Some people are so hidden, they are so secretive that what they know that it will affect the interest of the group, they will not say it. They will keep it to themselves. Only me, only me. So all of those things can actually cause conflict in the group. Then the paradox of trust. When trust is like an egg. If it breaks, you cannot gather it. So why some groups suffer conflict was there is no trust. There's no trust. Trust is a big problem in most groups. So when there is lack of trust, it causes a lot of conflicts. Then issues of individuality. It's another big problem. Some people, they believe in this one man gang, one man direction, one man this thing. They forgot that a group is a combination of different strength, different idea, different understanding, different knowledge, and different concern. So when some individuals begin to operate with this individual mentality of me, you see, it will cause problem, because it means that when the group begin to try to streamline what it will benefit the group, you see, it will begin to cause problems. Some individuals will say they are not in line with what they think it should. So it will cause conflict. Then the issues of authority. Authority is a problem. When the leadership of a group fail to know his or her own authority or her own functions, it has a way of affecting the leadership of the group. When there is nobody to direct, there's nobody to give instruction and expect compliance, there's always a problem. Then we have the paradox of regression. When members of the group begin to live in regrets, some people will say, I regretted joining this group. It will cause conflict. Some members may think that I have invested so much time, energy, and resources in this journey. The one way some people begin to say they regret. Regression is one of the things that causes conflict too in a group. Then the paradox of creativity. Of course, if a group is not creative enough in trying to solve their problems, profile solution, navigate over matters, and see how they can actually move forward. So we are trying to say the group process has to do with group development style and concomitant style. When there is problems, when the group begins to look at so many things, the problem of how to form the group itself is a problem, and how to even perform a certain function is a problem. You have situations where some group members they like all this party, they like all this social things, and some group members are not being in line. That's why when you see a group is failing, you should have to trace to how was they formed, how did they form. You need to trace their foundation. How do they actually form? It's very, very important. because the way they are formed matters a lot. So those are the things. Then issues like I said, the concomitant style. There's a lot of issues. The truth remains that collectivity matters a lot in life. So when all these things are not in place, you should know that there's going to be a problem. What is problem of identity? What is problem of disclosure? What is problem of trust? There is no trust among the group member to cause conflict. When some people begin to see themselves from the individual perspective, the group is a two-way traffic, not just one-way traffic. When some individuals begin to look at themselves as if they are superhero, they are the superstructure, without them nothing can happen, it causes conflict and all that, and so on and so forth. Then we have what is called behavioral sign of a group conflict. Behavioral sign of a group conflict. The typical sign of group conflict are colleagues not speaking to each other, contradicting and bad mouthing one another, deliberately undermining or not cooperating with one another, thus leading to the downfall of a team. And that's the fact. Once colleagues are not speaking to each other, they are not working as a team. They don't see each other as partner in progress. They begin to do jealousy, amebo. They begin to prognose. They begin to prognose from here and there. And they begin to, they look down on each other. There is no sense of value and respect for each other. There's no cooperation. You don't expect success in such kind of a group. So these are some of the signs that you notice in a group when they are not really doing well. First, look at this workforce diversity conflict. Workforce diversity conflict. Diversity refers to workforce which consists of different human qualities that belongs to different cultural groups. The primary dimension of diversity includes inborn differences or differences that have ongoing impact throughout one's life. The fact still remains that our diversity sometimes has a very strong effect in our behavior. Some people begin to come in with their own cultural or maybe their own village, their own language, their own environment mentality. They will bring it and carry it like sacrifice to an organization. And they forgot to know that an organization is a collectivity of different ideas and individuals to achieve a set goal. So when these signs begin to happen, it will lead to the downfall of that group. The group will not grow. So when people begin to look at bring in their various culture and all that, but they forgotten that there is an inborn differences that they have from day one. So it's not even about the culture alone. So all of these things are some of the signs of a group conflict. When you notice that members are not talking to each other, they are not communicating, they begin to, the jealousy, they begin to prognose, they begin to undermine each other, no respect. It causes conflict. Then group decision making. Good decision can be made only when group members have the right to question underlying assumption and speak their mind about issue at hand. Once identified and resolved cognitive conflict, ensure that basic assumptions of problem are not taken for granted. You see, the truth remains that when members of the group are not given a fair hearing, when they are not carried along in the process of taking any decision, you will realize that they will begin to went off. Whenever you bring up anything, they will not cooperate. Because they felt that the decision taken by the management, it wasn't a decision that we are part of it. So any decision that members of the group are not part of expect failure. So these are some of the signs you will see that group conflict begin to emerge. Group decisions, you notice that it will be one-sided. So members of the group will not be part of it. Then communications and group conflict. An effective communication group requires planned process of decision making. A regularly scheduled forum for members to discuss management issues, evaluate and discuss team functions and development, and to address related issues is very, very, very important. When members are not given opportunity to always speak their mind over what they do, whether they're doing it wrong or right. They want to speak, they want to have a voice. It's very, very important. And they should be quarterly, monthly, and yearly. In fact, we have what is called annual general meeting. This annual general meeting is a meeting whereby all reports of what has happened from January to December are discussed and solutions are given, queries are given, and way forward are provided. So when there is no an effective communication, there is bound to be conflicts. There is bound to be conflict. So communications should be, a two-way traffic. It's not just a one-way traffic. One communication is not flowing, it's not cordial, it's not healthy. You don't expect success in the team. So it's expected that anytime we see this kind of warning sign, we should know that the group is looking towards having conflicts. Thank you. See you in our next class.